Hello there, today I'll be making a top 10 video on my top 10 favorite civs in Civilization 6. This is purely subjective and it's my opinion, so you can disagree entirely with it. I don't really care, to each their own. It's more or less based around culture and science victories for the most part. That's usually what I go for. It's just what I enjoy more, so you're not going to see really any domination-focused civs here. Well, you are, but not true domination. Or faith for that matter. Don't expect that either. Every civ on this list I'll be showing the completed save, the victory, besides 2 of them. I'll tell you which ones those are when they come up. Hope you enjoy the video. In the number 10 spot comes the Ottoman Empire. They are a really good domination civ and they snowball very fast. Originally I was actually going to show, I think it was a Pangaea map, I forgot. It was one of the giant blob maps. But in that save I blobbed and there were only 2 civs left and I was pretty much 4/5 of the map, if not more. It was crazy, but I had accidentally deleted it, so you couldn't see how much they can snowball. They're a very good domination civ, and for any beginner, I would highly recommend the Ottoman Empire. They are just in general very good. So let's look at their abilities. The Grand Vizier is pretty useful. If we go look at him right now on the governor's screen, you can see he can help you not deal with loyalty pressure, which you won't be dealing with because you're the Ottoman Empire, and there's another ability they have that nullifies that. But their final ability, called the Grand Vizier, right here at the bottom, when established in a capital, foreign capital, none of the owner's cities exert loyalty pressure on yours. So you can use that for if you're going through a dark age, but even now I'm not really dealing with anything when I'm currently in a dark age. I mean, I think I lost Medina, but that's it. This is an old save, so I can't remember if that was him or me. But, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, the Janissary, but let's look up here again. Well, let's talk about the Great Turkish Bomber, referencing how they fucking owned Byzantium. But anyways, they have 50% production towards siege units, which is really fucking good in my opinion. I personally use siege units a lot when I do go to war, because there's always fucking walls around cities, and I'm not throwing meat shields into a fucking wall constantly. By far, they're my most used unit, I would say. Any fucking siege unit, besides maybe the catapult, because the trebuchet is like the new catapult for me. It's awesome, it's amazing. But aside from that, all siege units gains +5 damage against district defenses, which is pretty fucking good, considering that if you have, let's say you have artillery, where the fuck it is, the oil one. If you run out of oil, that's -10. So if you have the +5 on district defenses and you're out of oil, you'll really only be dealing with a -5. And if you get the World Congress event to upvote damage for a unit, and you get it to be +5 for siege, you nullified a missing, whatever the fuck it's called, oil or whatever. But that's a side front. Either way, the +5 is pretty good for a bonus to siege units. And conquered cities do not lose population, which is really good for when you're dominating people, when you're just conquering after conquer. Because sometimes you'll be conquering and you'll encounter a lot of loyalty issues, and it's really hard to rebound off of it. Even very much when you get a normal or a dark age, especially a dark age, because I've had to deal with bullshit a lot. You'll see later on one save that was also domination that had really bad loyalty issues. But the Janissary spawn the next dawn, the Janissary. The Janissary starts with 1 free promotion, which is really fucking good. You can already have, like, I forgot what it was, like +5, +3, or +10, I forgot, but a +3 attack bonus if you choose that promotion. So you already have stronger units than your enemy, just base off. For a mid-game unique unit, I'd say it's really fucking good. People usually say that early game units are really good. I agree and disagree at the same time, because things like the war cart or Persia or Macedon's units are really fucking good, but at the same time, mid-game units are also pretty good. I would say anything after the Renaissance is just not optimal. I mean, I may like the units after that as well, but they're just not optimal. But the Janissary is a pretty fucking good unique unit, and along with it, they also have another unique unit, the Barbary Corsair, which is unlocked. Look, where the fuck? Right here, Medieval Ferries. So if you rush that, you can get an early game fucking privateer, which will own a lot of things. And actually, right now, these two submarines down here, I think they're submarines. Let me check. Yeah, they're submarines. This is what, 1, 2, 3. They usually had 5. Oh yeah, there's right here, Barbary Corsair. But they're fucking useful shit, the Barbary Corsairs. I had a lot of them, and they helped me take down the Phoenicians. In the Balkans right here, the fucking Greece, helped me take them down a lot because they had ancient walls, and I'm pretty sure I rushed Medieval Ferries just to get the Barbary Corsair, and guess what? I like 2 to 3 hit their walls, and then when I took Italy over here, I also 2 to 3 hit their walls and all the city-states as well. They're a very useful naval unit. I honestly think naval units are really good when they're bombers. Naval bombers are what I mean. Well, basically, they may be called a privateer, but for the most part, I think of them as naval bombers. There's another civ here that has a similar unit that I also enjoy. You'll see them later on. That should be about it, though. They have really good naval and melee unit for this, around the same era almost. I never really used the Grand Bazaar, so I don't know nothing about it really. Grand Vizier is pretty useful for dealing with bad loyalty pressure, assuming you even have it. Because fucking great Turkish bomber is a really good ability. So I would say the Ottomans are a really good civ. So I'd recommend them. That's the number 10 spot. Right, and the number 9 spot is Russia. While Russia doesn't nearly have as many abilities as the Ottomans had that I liked, they are still a fun and good civ I like to enjoy from here and now. But, you know, the abilities aren't nearly as much as before. But either way, let's cover the parts that I do like. First off is Mother Russia, which makes starting cities bulkier than normal cities for normal civs. They also get +1 faith and +1 production from Tundra tiles. I don't really care about the blizzard part, but if you're playing on apocalypse mode or you have max, what's it called, max disaster ratio or whatever, then that does matter. There's 100% unit damage from blizzards in Russian territory, which once again, I don't usually have to deal with, but if you play on disaster mode constantly and it's a very snowy map, that's very useful for you. But yeah, I mean, I really liked them before, but they lost a little bit of my favor now because some update, I don't know what, they spawn in deformed, sort of. Originally they just spawned in as a bigger hex than the first hex or whatever. Like before it was like, they would spawn in bigger basically, just bigger all around, or something like what I'm trying to form right here. Now they just spawn in sort of spastically and random. Like instead of being a perfect sort of hexagon, now they can spawn in as like an oval or some stupid shit. I don't know why they did that, but it sucks. They sort of nerfed Mother Russia, so it's sort of why they're this low in the list. The Lavra is very good indeed though. The Lavra is basically just a cheaper holy site district. But the good thing is, if you read there, it says the Lava provides +1 great writer points, +1 great artist point, and +1 musician points for, you know, certain buildings. Shrines provide writer, temple provides artist, and the worship building provides musician points. So they're a very good religious civ for religious victories. So that's something to remember. I'm pretty sure they're one of the best civs for religious victories in early game though, for deity. I can't remember though, I may be wrong. Besides of course Saladin, which gets an automatic religion, but he ain't on this list, so yeah. His ability Mother Russia that makes Tundra tiles more useful is really useful because let me try and find it. by the time you get to Reformed Church is when you can get St. Basil's Cathedral, which is the Petra for Tundra tiles, right? That's way later on than the real Petra, which you get from fucking, like, mathematics or some shit. Which is like, wow, right here compared to, like, all the culture you have to get the fucking Basil's Cathedral. This is also the save. This is the second save on the list that doesn't have a victory. So, I can't show you I won what with this. But the next 8 will have their victories with them. So, yeah, this was the number 9 spot. In the number 8 spot comes Changdan Rupta version of the Indian Empire. First of all, I like them for a few reasons, actually. This is another sort of Ottoman case where there won't just be 2 abilities that make them really fun. First of all, let's start with the Dharma. The Dharma, you receive every follower belief in a city from each religion that has 1 follower. So if there's like 1 Catholic in your city, and that had a follower belief that was like, I don't know, let's say plus 1 science per citizen, but the rest of it was Hindu, and that's it plus 1 for culture per citizen, then whoop-de-doo, you'd be getting culture and science from that city, which is really good. So now multiply that by everyone, and wow, you have a pretty cool empire. Along with continuing on though with this, cities gain an enmity for every religion with at least 1 follower. So I usually have an enmity issue. I never make entertainment complexes or really anything that solves enmities, so I'm always depraved of that. So for most of this playthrough, I actually fucking had all the amenities I needed, which was really good. And the final part of it, missionaries have +2 spreads, I didn't notice, which is pretty good. So if you want to actually do religious with this, it's doable. This is, I'm pretty sure, a trait from Gandhi still. But 100% religious pressure from your trade routes is pretty useful too. Next up is the Varu, which I like for a few reasons. First of all, they're fucking elephants. That's cool already, in my opinion. You get them very early on, though, which is like horseback riding, or whatever the tech is called. Let's look. It is called horseback riding. And you can make these the entire game right now. I could actually... Currently researching synthetic materials. I already have the ability to, like, make better light cavalry, right? Or heavy cavalry is actually what they are, but... What did they actually... Oh shit, maybe you can't make them after a while. Oh, whoa, that's... Alright, well, for most of the game, you can make Varus just anytime you want. I don't know when they got voided, but they got voided sometime between now and, like, 50 turns ago. Because I made a fucking... a Varu army just for the fucking arrow score. But either way, though, the Varus are very nice. They're very good early game units, and as we go back here, -5 combat strength for adjacent enemy units, which is really fucking good. That's just like nerfing. It's like that's around the damage penalty for having a weakened unit, if not more. So that plus that, and the weakened unit plus the Varu being there is a really good combo, and it really makes your fucking enemies weak as shit. Which is probably why it's so sort of hard to find a fight Changdan Rupta in early game, unless you have only anti-cavalry. But also, onto the next point, the Stepwell. The Stepwell is pretty much just a free housing, which is what I like about it most and foremost, really. The fact that it gives you 1 free housing is very useful, because this city right here is over the limit, right? They have 2 more citizens than they need. So if I wanted to get it balanced right now, right, what I could do is, well, if I didn't have stepwells, I could build 2, whatever it's called right here, houses right here, and then 2 houses right here, farms, whatever. and that would leave only this rice right here. But wait a second, I'm probably going to go over limit again, because this is fucking rice, and rice is just so much food for some reason. Or, you know, because I have step wells, I can just build 2 step wells right here, or maybe only 1, but that's still okay. 1 or 2 step wells, and I wouldn't even need to feed more food to my people and have to deal with the shit so soon again. Step wells are just nice because it's like a 1 house plus 2 faith tile. That's really useful. They're honestly not that bad for Diplo victories, which is what I got with them. It was actually my first Diplo victory. I didn't want to play Sweden or fucking really anyone that was optimized for Diplo. So I went with good old Chang, and due to his buffs and whatnot, he was pretty decent. Pretty good all around. I mean, he's focused towards faith and domination. Faith you need for, I guess, religious emergencies, and for in case an early game military emergency does happen, you can send in the Varus, and the Varus will absolutely destroy your enemies unless they have like a unique anti-cavalry unit or some shit. That never happened, sadly. I was prepared for it. I had a few Varus just sitting around waiting. So, you know, a standing military and faith output are both very, well, more or less a religion. A religion and a standing army are both very important, I'd say, to a Diplo game, and that's what Chang'an Repta's focused towards. That never happened. Both ways. I didn't get either of them, too. That sucked. I just got disaster after disaster, which, whatever. But yeah, the number 8 goes to Chang'an Repta. Overall, a very good civ. I enjoy them. Hey there. I had to redo this. Not only just this, but the entire rest of this video. So everything after number 8. I accidentally muted my mic. So yeah, I'm gonna have to retake this. But good side is, everything's gonna be way fucking shorter than the last 3, hopefully. But on the point, number 7 is the British Empire. Britain is pretty enjoyable in general. English Empire, whatever, fuck that. Pax Britannica, it gives you a free fucking naval unit every time. This is useful because if you do what I did and you just play coastal and you keep on making, repeatedly, you keep making Royal Navy dockyards, you'll just get a naval unit, and that'll build up your manpower to be, at least at my point, a little bit over 1,000. Which, why does that matter? If anything, that's a fucking gold sink, right? You may be thinking that, and you wouldn't be fully wrong, but first of all, why are you not equipping Levy en masse and whatever the fuck the -1 gold one was? But second of all, no, it's not, because when you play in higher difficulties, the AI will see you have a weaker military and they'll attack you. Even on fucking Prince that happens. Like, if you play, I don't know, maybe the Inca, and you spawn near Hungary, and Hungary just doesn't like you for some reason, they'll fucking rush you. It happened to me once. It was shitty. So, you know, the free naval unit's very useful. Besides that, you know, the Redcoat's fucking useless. It's just if you want to play colonial, and I feel like there are better colonial nations. 2 of them are on this list. I'll point them out when we get there. The coal mine thing's alright. You get 2 more coal, so you can have a bunch of ironclads. But, you know, since coal is pretty much like a 1-unit thing, this is absolutely useless. If it was an oil thing, it would be very fucking useful, because you would have artillery, you have planes, you have ships, and you have melee units, and even fucking cavalry that use it. But, no, it's coal, which is only, as far as I know, ironclads, and maybe another naval unit. The Sea Dog is alright, it's pretty much just the Navy cache. It can steal units, whatever. Royal Navy Dockyard, I've already mentioned. It can also, I'm pretty sure, house great works. Can I look at that? Oh yeah, no, I can't see shit. Woo! I don't think it can. I thought it could, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. I could have swore that the Royal Navy Dockyard had like artifact slots or something, but I'm wrong apparently, so that's even worse. They're a good naval civ though. You can easily control the oceans like Britain actually did with this civ if you just spam naval dockyards and just harass your neighbors. You know, like, wow, look, I'm getting an extra 2 coal from now. Oh, it's broken, never mind. But yeah, it's number 7, Britain. I honestly should have put them lower, and I should have put Ottomans higher, but I'm not going to redo this a 3rd time, right? So yeah, number 7 goes to Britain. In the number 6 spot is the Netherlands. This is actually one of the 2 I would describe colonial civs on this. Now, while the Netherlands is, the other one isn't, but really, what makes a good colonial civ is loyalty. Literally loyalty, that's it. If you don't have good loyalty pressure, then you are a shit fucking... you're a shit tier fucking colonial civ. Which is why Britain sort of sucks. They didn't get any loyalty buffs. Honestly, Ottomans could make a better loyalty civ. I mean, a better colonial civ, but beside the point, we're ranting. First ability the Dutch have, Radio Orange. Basically, trade routes to yourself, +2 loyalty per turn for the starting city. Foreign trade routes give you +2 culture. That doesn't really matter. What really matters is the loyalty. If you had, let's say you're playing 2-star map and you have Ethiopia and Congo in the map, and thank God they haven't moved southward yet. If you have 3 cities down here that are slowly getting loyalty pressure and they're starting to get like below the 50% loyalty mark, you can buy 3 settlers and have each city have its own trade route to its neighbor, and you could successfully hold the outpost here and control a little bit of coal, a little bit of horses, you know, all this stuff here. Hell, if you're lucky, you could even get the radioactive waste right there, right? So they're actually good, which is thankful because they were, you know, a fucking giant fucking naval power. Fucking colonizer until I guess they decided, I think we'll all lose it to the Brits or some shit. Don't know why, but they did. I'll have to look into that. But besides that, they have a few other cool abilities besides, you know, loyalty trade routes. The Groot Riverine, sorry, I don't speak Dutch that much, if at all, right? Basically, you get major adjacency from rivers. And wanna know why that's really good? If you're going for a science victory and your spaceport city has rivers, and your science city is next to a river, you can put down an aqueduct and then position your... Well, actually, it's just a godsend, because you could put your aqueduct right here, right? And then right here, you put your factory. And then if it's positioned good, you could put Rue Valley in, so that any mines you have give you even more fucking production. So it'd be a really good spaceport. This is 111 production. Very good fucking civ for space, I'd say. Because you inadvertently get production buffs. You know, because your aqueduct could be built and then you could put a factory right beside it, and your factory is going to get some adjacency as well. And then you can put down Rue Valley, because it's probably going to be across the river. It should be, unless you fucked up your district placement and you took that slot. But besides that, what else? The 7 Provincines, I'm pretty sure it means the 7 provinces, because I know that means 7. I mean, that means the, and Zeven means 7. And Provincine looks a lot like provinces, so, you know, common fucking inferences. But it doesn't really matter. I never used it before. It's probably good considering it has, I assume, district damage +7. Pretty good. But let's talk about the polder. The polder is just a very situation restricted upgrade unit, but it's not bad. First of all, I mean, it just makes things look a little more pretty. I like that, you know. Wow, cosmetics, flowers and shit. But, you know, this right here is a farm triangle, did you know? That's pretty fucking cool, don't you think? At the same time, I doubt it is, but I'm pretty sure it is, because this is +6, and now the other ones are. So I don't know. My brain just poofed, I understand now. But basically, it gets the same bonuses as feudalism if it's adjacent to 2 other polders. sadly enough, I don't think this actually works. I thought it did, but it doesn't. But either way, though, it makes a lot of fucking money. No matter what, it makes a lot of fucking money. So that's why I have a strong economy right now with really not that many cities. It's very good, though. The folders and it's very situational, though. So I wouldn't say play Netherlands for the folder. No, play Netherlands for the Radio Orange and the fucking Grote Riverine. Good science civ. That's what I won with this guy, by the way. Good old science victory. Same thing for good old England in the last slot. But yeah, number 6 goes to the Netherlands. Alright, we're in the top 5 now. These guys are really appreciated by me, honestly, and they're very preferred. This is number 5, though. Number 5 goes to both versions of France. Unlike India, which I don't really like Gandhi and I like Chain to Interrupt, though. I like both versions. They're both good for culture victories, I'd say, and alright, that's it, really. Eleanor is the other colonial civ on this, by the way. Eleanor can easily hold civs in general. If you can build just 1 or 2 theater square districts, and you buy the amphitheater and you put like a random great work of writing in there, you're already gonna hold off a bit of loyalty bullshit. So you could have like a 1 city colony, and they'd be fine if they had 2 or more great works. But oh, and staple that on with Void Singers giving you a free tile to just do whatever the fuck you want, you know, like this. You're really set for loyalty bonuses. A few reasons why I like them, though. First of all, you know, colonial loyalty stuff. They're very good loyalty in general. They're on par with Ottomans domination-wise, I'd say. You could easily dominate a lot of people with your loyalty buffs. Move around a few great works, and now your unruly provinces are probably going to be safe. That's how Spain and Portugal went down pretty easily thanks to that fact. Yeah, this is all not by peace. This is all by force, with a lot of blood and sweat, tears, good shit. But everything over here, the English areas and the German areas, those are all just loyalty pressure for my cities. Very useful. I got a bunch of free shit just because of this, so now I have like a mega France. What was already a mega France become an even bigger mega France, right? But that doesn't fully matter for this. This is a culture victory, by the way, in case you were wondering. Let's look at the abilities. We already covered Court of Love. Every great work, -1 loyalty per turn. Pretty fucking useful. Oh, and you can also immediately get a free city to join your civilization. Little side rant here. This is advice. You can farm arrow score with this. Let's say your neighbor is having a really bad time. Let's say Germany's in a dark age and I'm in a golden age, and I have a lot of great works right here and he doesn't. So, let's say Mattingburg falls. It falls to 3 rebellions and it converts to Eleanor shit, right? Instead of keeping that city or giving it back to Germany, give it to someone like the Ottomans, who is just not even near that city and has no reason to have the city. They'll accept the city because the city is a fucking city and they like gifts, right? So they'll take it. And now this city, instead of falling in 10 turns, will fall in 5 or less turns. And you can repeatedly farm this city. It's a really good way to farm arrow score. I did it before. Try it out yourself if you have Eleanor and the DLC for her. What else was I going to say? Grand Tour is amazing because it really makes wonder as a tourism generator. 20% production towards medieval, Renaissance, and industrial era wonders is really good because you already get some tourism from that. And then, oh look, you get 100% more fucking tourism from wonders. Now imagine this. Imagine you make Biosphere, right? Biosphere makes it so your fucking everything, honestly, really. Your solar, everything that's like clean energy related, it gives you more tourism now. So that, along with the fact that it has 100% more tourism, is really good. Redcoat is useless. The Guard Imperial is fucking awesome. Because, you know, on a randomized map, unlike this, you know, you're not gonna have, unlike TSL Earth, there's not a good chance you'll have that many confidence, right? So, your neighbors try ganking your shit up, right? Let's say Rome and Germany join forces and they want to push me back and take all of my shit. Well, if I have quite a few Grand Imperials, I'll be able to deal with their shit easily. Because I have plus 10 combat strength for being on my continent. That is amazing. That's an amazing buff. With a Great General, wow, that is a really good fucking buff. The Great General points for killing units with them doesn't matter at all. And the Chateau is honestly free arrow score, but Grand Tour, the Guard Imperial, and the Court of Love are all very important. And for once, I'll say that a unique industrial arrow unit is very useful. And I would recommend using it a lot, because it's very useful. It's like a single unit buffed by Teddy Roosevelt's unique ability, but like ×2. But yeah, Eleanor is a very good civ and deserves the number 4 spot. Sorry for the missay there. I got my numbers mixed up with which part was which. This is number 4. Aquitaine is indeed. Eleanor of Aquitaine is number 5. Japan is number 4. Japan is all around a decent civ. It can go at a lot of things. Let's look at its abilities. Divine Wind is really good. Basically +5 to naval units in shallow water and +5 to melee units adjacent to coast, right? That may not sound like a good bid, but you know what? Let's look at the situation I have right here. Early game I was playing Japan, and you know, I want to basically do Imperial Japan kind of shit. So I thought, man, with that bonus and Oligarchy, which gives you more damage to naval, melee, and anti-cavalry, so I pick Oligarchy, and with Divine Wind and that buff, with 3 galleys, I ended Gyeongju in like 2 turns at most. Probably 1 turn, but I'm pretty sure 2. It's just like, wow. Just a really good buff. Along with that, Divine Wind gives a, like, you only have half the time to make stuff. Well, I mean, not half the time to make stuff, but like, yeah, that. Actually, that's what I meant entirely, yeah. Instead of 10 turns to make a holy site, now it's only, fucking 5. It's like, wow, what a good buff. And it is. It's a very good buff. You could probably get an early game religion like this, though. Honestly, other civs are better at it than him. What else is going on here? The hurricanes don't really matter unless you play, what's it called, a bunch? Disaster mode, right? Meiji Restoration is just more adjacency for adjacent districts, which is useful. If you have really compact cities that have their units butt to butt, you're fine. They're going to have a lot more adjacency than a normal civ would have. But their unique unit is good. It's fun. I wish they didn't move it. They moved it from military technology, which was attack, to feudalism, which is a culture tech. I don't know why they did it. They just did. Which, it sucks, but whatever, right? But they're very useful, honestly. It's just a fucking powerful unit. And before they added in the trebuchet and the man-at-war, they were really powerful because they fucking steamrolled all medieval units. And since there was no, like, intermediary between swordsmen and musketmen, you had, like, really powerful units that were, that was debatable to upgrade them to musketmen, because with musketmen, they cost a little bit more, I think, and, well, they aren't fucking samurai, that's cool as shit. There were literally no damage differences between the samurai and the musketmen, if at all. At most, I think it was like a 5-point difference, which is decent, but not that important. Also, it's loyalty right here is why you should usually play Ottomans for a domination victory. But, side note aside... Oh, I didn't even notice that. The samurai don't suffer any damage penalties when they're hurt, which is fucking useful, because your units are going to be hurt when they're doing shit. Electronics Factory is alright, but honestly, I'd say Japan is nice for bulldozing in the early game, because I almost wiped out... I think this is their last city. No, it's right here. No, this is their last city. I don't know how it's still alive. Wait, is it? No, they have enough score that isn't their only city. I think they have a few over here. I don't know. Either way, sidetrack aside, I wiped out the Chinese, almost wiped out Mongols. I would have wiped these guys out too if I didn't want to get the save over finished with, right? But shit. Sorry, I'm just spacing out a bit here and there. I already did this once, but honestly, this is a way cleaner version than my last go through of raiding Japan. Just trying to think what I was going to say because I know I was going to say something. Oh yeah, they're just fun for bulldozing people a lot. This, along with trebuchets, is just amazing. It is a little annoying though, since they moved it to feudalism. You know, it takes you a little longer now, because I'm pretty sure the culture tree is way more fucking longer than the tech tree. But, you know, whatever, right? But I think Japan's a little bit more suited, honestly, to base game, since there's no loyalty issues, and you're not as restricted, I'd say, to domination, because in base game, if you could even play on this map, which I know you can't, bulldozing all these guys would be a lot easier. You know, you don't have to deal with loyalty here and here. So a lot of this game I spent dealing with this stuff right here. All these guys, loyalty pressure, because Vietnam, I guess, was having a good time. I mean, I'm even in a golden age right now. Me and Vietnam are both in a golden age, and I'm having bad loyalty issues. But whatever, side note aside, I'm getting sidetracked still. Japan is number 4. And, yeah, let's go to the next one. Number 3 spot. So the number 3 spot is the Khmer Empire, or, you know, if you want to be fun, the Khmer Empire, right? Funny, haha, whatever. The Khmer are very much a faith civ in general. When I first had them, when I first saw them, or had them in my game, whatever, this is before they got buffed, right? Before they got all the buffs, right? I thought they were a weird food faith civ. I was like, why does this matter, and why do you care to make this, right? But they're really good. Like, ever since the buff, they've been, like, really good. Like, let's just look at those. It's hard to say without looking at this. Monasteries of the King. Basically, holy sites beside rivers are god tier. Culture bombing shit. Food equal to adjacency. +2 housing. Grand Beret. Cities with an aqueduct receive an amity. And +1 faith per everyone in the city. Farm supply +2 if adjacent to an aqueduct, and +1 faith if adjacent to a holy site. The Dom Ray I didn't really use, but I'm pretty sure it's really good considering it's stronger than our Trebuchet and replaces it. The Prasit is basically just a better temple that gives you 1 faith per 2 citizens in your city. And you get 10 tourism if you have 10 or more citizens, and 20 tourism if you have 20 or more citizens. So, if basically what I'm trying to say here is, what I'm about to say here is, if you have a city that has, or whatever it's called, the thing, what's it called? The Prasid, and you have St. Basil's Cathedral, and you have 20 or more people in it, and you also have religious paintings in your city, like a themed museum, you know, 3 different religious artists in a museum, and you have what's Pingala's buff called? Pingala's curator buff? Basically curator plus Basil's Cathedral plus Prasit plus a themed religious what? Art museum plus well, if you pick the thing, if your temples can hold religious artifacts, that as well, but that's optional. If you have those 4 or 5 things, you're having a really good tourism civ right here. Really good tourism city. And since they're innately high pop, you're gonna have, well, sooner or later, you're gonna have a 20 or more civ. You're gonna get 10 fucking tourism for sure from each city. If you play your cards right and you have rivers everywhere, like Europe does. Uh, sorry. They're really good though, in general. This is one of the only civs that, like, 30 turns in, I had 19 housing, thanks to adjacency bonuses and whatnot. It's like, wow. And I averaged around 18 or 19 housing considering everything. So if you want to go culture victory on this guy, you can do it easily. If you want to go faith victory, you're more than welcome to. You're having a lot of faith from your high pop cities, and you have really good loyalty. So if one of your neighbors has a dark age, you can easily take their cities because you have 11 plus people. You should have 11 plus people in your city. Yeah, they're just a wonderful civ. I didn't really play them until recently, and I love them. I'm gonna play some more games with them. You know, maybe True Start Asia, maybe just a normal game. They're very good though. They deserve the number 3 spot. And the number 2 spot is Gran Colombia. This may seem like a left field pitch, but in general, I think they're a really fun civ, and they deserve the number 2 spot. Though they don't have the same fucking, like, amount of abilities as the Khmer or the Ottomans, they definitely deserve number 2. Because the few abilities they do have are just wonderful. Let's look at them. Forgive me for my, hopefully, Spanish, but the Campana, Admirable. Yeah, that's how you say it, I think. Basically, you are a Commandante General each new era. Why is this good? 2 reasons. 2 reasons. 1, you get a general every era. That's pretty useful. And if you're like me and you were pretty much killing the entire game, then you really did need those generals every era. And the second reason is, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. So let's say you had a very bad start and you have a dark age for the classical era. The very first turn the classical era starts, you get a Commandante General, and that immediately shoots you plus 4 points. And since you got a dark age the very first era, you are very likely to get a heroic age if you at least try to do what you need to do to get a heroic age. Considering everything's on the table and there are probably still monuments nearby. I mean, world wonders, you can pick up and use. So you can easily get a heroic age for the medieval era, which is awesome, and that's setting you up for a good mid-game to late game, I'd say. But besides that, nothing too much matters about them. The Lanero and the Hacienda don't really matter. I'd say they're both just free. They're just free arrow score. Have it as you will. 1 point matters besides the Campana Admirable, though. It's... I may say this wrong, and forgive me if I do, but the Ejercito Patriota, I think, I don't know. Basically, +1 movement to all units, and, as a follow-up, promoting a unit does not take up a turn. So let's have an example here. Let's say this guy right here is the only bomber that I have, or artillery, whatever. This guy isn't here, right? And there's 1/3 health of the wall there. You know, right? I can't really do that much damage, right? You know, because it's a wall. But if I shot a shot, I would weaken it a whole fucking bunch. But my artillery is weak, and since the shot doesn't kill, or even really get it too weak, and I don't think my pike and shot can kill, I would either A, have to go with the promotion I hopefully have, or B, take the shot. But if you're playing Gran Colombia, you could literally just upgrade and then take the shot. And then you can move your guy in and... Yeah. It's just a wonderful ability. Also, the +1 is very useful, saying it makes moving your artillery around for wars way faster. Because pre-railroads is just way too fucking slow for units like the artillery. Side note is that light and heavy cavalry are like Godspeed now. They're like so fucking fast because they have another movement now. That's insane. Now imagine moving across railroads with your +1 movement. It's like, oof, I can move across Siberia almost fully, probably, honestly. But anything else besides that? Nah. That's why they're getting number 2 spot. It may just be 2 abilities. It may not be like Ottomans or the Khmer where they have a bunch, but you know, it's honestly worthy of mentioning, and I think they're really good. And if they had more good abilities, like 1 or 2 more good abilities, like the Ottomans, then I think they'd be really overpowered and people would use them a lot more. But yeah, number 2 spot goes to Gran Colombia. And the number 1 spot is Brazil. You know, despite being memed on in real life, they're actually pretty good Civ in Civ 6. If you noticed yet, or if you haven't noticed yet, I won this game in turn 113. Crazy, right? It really is crazy, honestly, but is it helped by the fact they have a monopoly in ivory and diamonds? Yes, but I don't think that's it. Honestly, I had more than that many. I had 3 to 5 monopolies in my Colombia game, and it took me like turn 210 to get a culture victory. So what's the difference besides not going to war with everyone? I think it's the fact that Brazil's just a wonderful civ, and I could have won. I for sure could have won this game before turn 100 if I had been paying attention. But I was goofing off around that time, so I didn't notice I was a quarter of the way there already by turn 90. Street Carnival and Copacabana are both really good for world, the world event or whatever, where you have to get great people points. So, I mean, they're even good for, what's it called, Diplo victories probably, because you could easily win those events very easily. I think it's like the World's Fair event. And I've won those before too, the World Fair events, just because I could spam the Street Carnival thing and just get a bunch of points at once. The Minas Gerais is basically a bomber on water from what I remember. They're very useful for naval assaults, and they're pretty much just a late game version of the Barbary Corsair. Honestly, they're one of the few industrial era units I would use. Them and the Imperial, whatever France's unit was called. Those two are very good, in my opinion. Amazon basically just gives major adjacency to everything, which is very useful and fun. And it's useful for science and for culture victories. And Magnanimous is basically, you get a 20% refund on all your 8 people points. Overall, they're a wonderful fucking civ. I really could have won the game pre-turn 100 if I had simply paid attention and I had, you know, used my great people, or more or less bought up to them and, you know, done a lot more than what I had done. But, you know, what's done cannot be undone, right? I think, I mean, sub 200 and sub 150 are still really good in my opinion, so hold this save in my heart, right? They're just a wonderful fucking civ. I really do enjoy them a lot. It's a wonderful fucking civ. I mean, it's not, I mean, you might think it's stupid that they have 2 unique districts that are the exact same, but in my opinion, I think that's good. Because, I mean, they may be the exact same, but, well, I mean, one's for water, one's for land, I'd say, so. That means if you have, like, a 1-tile city, you could actually do the Carnival project there as well, right? It's just very useful for getting great people points. They're a very good science culture victory character, which I usually do. I usually either do a culture or a science victory game. It's just how I like playing the game. But it's just wonderful. That's pretty much the end. I'll say a few comments after this, but if you're done, you can leave. Back to the video. Sorry if I seem somewhat unorganized. I don't have a script for this at all. It was just off the top of my head. It's a lot more polished than the first run through. And I would have used the first run through, sadly. But luckily, only Civs for 10, 9, and 8 had audio for it. So, you know, we got more polished. You guys get more polished versions of my video. So it's nice. I mean, just look at that culture though. I blitzkrieged it. That's just amazing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to correct my pronunciations at all, that's what you want to do, then do it. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.